Welcome back to the Relentless Transitions podcast, everyone. I'm Rosalind Keith, and I'm here with my co-host, Teresa. How's it going in Georgia, Teresa?
Yes, everything is going well here. It's really nice. Actually, the fall is my favorite time of year, fall and winter. I like the cold. And although we don't get a lot of snow, but it's starting to, get cooler. The trees are turning, and so I'm excited.
Yeah, I love the fall too. We're it definitely has a feel of fall in the air right now, and I think of it. A lot of people think of it as kind of the end, but I kind of think of it as a new beginning in a way. But
Hmm.
and probably because I loved school. And
Me
so,
too.
the fall was the beginning of a new year in my
Hmm.
mind, and I still really associate with that. So anyway, today, as always on the Relentless Transitions podcast, we talk about life and business and how to triumph over them. Sometimes it's more about life, sometimes it's more about business. Today, we have one of those topics that, on initial look, might be all about business, but in fact, you can use what we're going to talk about in your life as well. And today, we're going to be talking about how to set SMART, S.M.A.R.T, goals for your business. So, Teresa, what do
Yes.
you think of that topic?
I think it's a great topic, because it's one thing to set goals, but when you're in business, they say if you can niche it down, if you can think of it in that way, SMART goals is a way of niching down your goals.
Yeah, yeah. So, why don't we get started, Teresa? What do you have to say initially on this?
Um, well, I really, so the question that I would like to ask is, and everybody ask yourself this question because I've been asking myself, and I had my husband to do it as well. Are you a dog trying to fly like an eagle? Or are you an eagle trying to bark like a dog?
Wow.
Yeah. Are you a dog trying to fly like an eagle, or are you an eagle trying to bark like a dog? In some of the kids' stories or children's stories, you find that birds are friends with, animals that are walking along on the ground, and sometimes they envy one another. So are you in some type of envy? When it comes to setting goals, that makes it quite difficult because you're trying to do something that's really quite impossible for you to do. So that's really why I threw that analogy out there today. Now, both the dog and the eagle are great, and the activities of them both, flying and barking, are both great activities. But imagine the frustration if you're an eagle trying to bark like a dog, or you're a dog and you're running and running and running and trying to jump off the ground, but you just can't. So that's this is gonna be a fun episode. What do you
So,
think about that, Rosalind?
so I'm going to take this and say, okay, what did that all mean? Well, it means that when you're setting your goals, you have to be smart about it. You have to know what's within your capabilities. So, and the SMART acrostic is one that if you look up goal setting on the internet, the SMART acrostic is the one that just jumps out everywhere. And it's one that I use with my clients regularly. So let's break that down. SMART, S as in specific, and we'll get into the details of each of these as we go along. But M is measurable. A is actionable. Sometimes you see it as achievable or action oriented or aligned. R is realistic or relevant,
Mhm.
reasonable, resourced, results based, whatever R suits you. And T, time bound. So those are basically, that's the broad outline of that SMART goal setting program. Now we're going to break it down and get really into the nitty gritty of what
Mhm.
this is all about. And we're going to be giving you some examples so that it becomes clear what these things mean. So Teresa is going to give us a start on this by
Yeah.
talking about specific.
So let's get started. And as I always say, I know that this is a podcast. So if you're driving or you're doing something where you're not able to take notes, then please be sure to come back and listen to this episode again. So being specific, that means that you want to ask yourself, to what degree is this goal that I have set out for myself? To what degree is it specific? This is super important when it comes to business, because this determines how you can track, your success. It sets you up to be able to monitor what is going on in your business, so that your business is not just open-ended, flowing, and all of the activity isn't ambiguous. So this is your starting place for your journey, so that you can be most effective in your business. Now, allow yourself time to think about this, because this is when you are starting out. And even if you already have a business that is live and functioning and well, or maybe you're going to switch directions, anytime you introduce a new product or a new service, or when you go back and reevaluate what you're doing, it's important to always be specific. Now, I'm going to pause and say it is very important to write this down. It is important to write it down. Why? I often find that I am most effective when I write things down. In general, I think that there's some research that says that things that you write down and that you can physically see, those things, you just remember those things better. I'm sure, like when I was going through school, it really helped me to make good grades because I had seen it, before. So when I saw it on a test, it was easy for me to tap into that and pick the correct answer. But let's go to being specific in your business. You want to write these things down, because so many things are happening, not only in the world, but there are going to be so many things that are happening in and around your business. You don't want to forget anything or lose track and not know like which direction you're going in. And also, when you write your goals down and you try to be specific, it's going to help you to prioritize which things you need to do first in order or on your way to actually achieving your goals.
Exactly, exactly. So, Teresa, can you, why don't you provide us with some specific
Example.
exampals? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you want to be as specific as possible. So, say for instance, in business, I hear this a lot. When I ask, what are your goals? I want to make more money. Okay, so you know what I typically do? I open up my wallet if I'm face to face with the person, and I hand them $1. And then they stare at the dollar. I'm like, that's more money. So that's you really need to be more specific. So instead of just saying I want to make more money or I want to increase sales, what you want to do is, then if you have a service, say that you are selling courses, you want to say I want to sell 3 courses a month at $3,000 a course, for an increase of, you see what I'm saying? $9,000 a month. Or if you have a product, let's say candles, because we know that I love candles. So we're just using that as an example. You would say, I want to sell 1,000 or increase my sales by 1,000 candles a month at $15 a candle, which will be $15,000 a month. So that is very, very specific, and it allows you can track that. Those are numbers that you can go back and you can look at your inventory and see, did you actually meet your goal of the 1,000 candles? Or you can look at your sales invoices if you have a service based business and see, did you actually meet your goals in that way?
Great, great, great advice there. Uh, I don't think I have anything to add to that. You did a wonderful job.
Well, also, like say for instance, if you're thinking of just building a business, or say you have a book that you want to put out, or some product that you need to like build an audience around that, then it can help you. Being specific can help you track like subscribers or leads or customers or the flow of traffic to your business. Yeah.
And I mean, this can be applied to life as well. So, for example, if your goal is to be healthier, you need to be more specific in that. Does that mean visiting the gym 3 times a week? Does that mean joining Weight Watchers? Like really, really. So it's just be specific. Don't just say I want to be healthy. Being healthy can mean a lot of different things,
Absolutely.
right? So
It could
let's
be that you want to lose weight.
yeah,
So, do you want to lose? Okay, you want to lose weight. Well, how much weight do you want to lose? You want
exactly.
to lose 10 pounds. Okay, you want to lose 10 pounds by what date?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that is helping to be specific. You say you want to be healthier. It could be that maybe you're diabetic and you're trying to focus on your blood. It could,
Yeah,
so the being healthy is a great goal, but it's too ambiguous. You
it
need to be
is.
more specific
Yeah.
and make it apply
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So these tips certainly are great, and we're going to focus mostly on using them for your business. But really, think of ways, and maybe you guys can pop this into the comments section on our YouTube channel, or send us emails. Ways that you use these, um, you can use these goal setting tools in your personal life as well.
Mhm.
Um, are we ready to move on to
Yes.
measurable?
Hmm.
So I'm gonna tackle that one. So measurable means exactly that. How do you measure your goal? How do you measure the achievement of your goal? So it allows you, by being able to measure it, being that your goal is something that's measurable, like 15 selling, what did you use, your candle thing,
Hmm.
selling a
1,000
thousand more
pounds.
candles.
Hmm.
By being measurable, then you can actually look on the papers and say, like your inventory list, and say, oh gosh, I haven't met that goal yet. Or and then that says to you, well, what do I need to do to increase? I need to sell 200 more candles this month to meet that goal. So it gives
Hmm.
you really, really a great way. If that goal is specifically measurable, it gives you a great way to keep track of whether you're achieving the goal or not. So you need to define what evidence will prove that you're making the progress towards your goal. Um, Sometimes it's a simple yes or no answer.
Hmm.
But a lot of times, especially in business, it's about looking at the numbers, looking at your invoices and your accounts payable and receivable and your inventories and that sort of thing. So that's what we mean by measurable. And that flows naturally, of course, from being specific, right?
Right.
So
And
it's all tied together.
and that will help you to identify when you start talking about what you are measuring. That is going to help you to determine what tools are needed to actually complete your measurement.
That's right.
So, is it data analytics? I have like some um, email campaigns for which I get analytics on that tell me things like I sent this many emails, this is how many people actually opened the email, that type of thing. And
Yeah,
then I also get data on, people who actually responded to the emails. So is it some type of software that you're going to need? In the case of a service-based business, it could be, as I talked about the coaching programs, it could be your invoices. As I talked about the candles, and you're selling so many, it could be that you need a calculator. Or if you're really great at doing it longhand, writing it out, Is that what you're going to use? So it will help you to, or in the case where we talked about life and talked about getting healthier and losing weight, do you need a scale?
Yeah.
To measure your weight on. And then what kind of scale do you want to use? Do you want to use just the regular scale, or do you want to get all fancy pantsy, as they say, and get you one of those that calculates BMI and body fat and water content and whatever your goal is. So measurable, is it measurable? And what tools are you going to need to actually measure it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
All right. And then
Okay.
next is the A. So we're on to actionable. So when we talk about actionable, we're asking what steps are needed to actually reach this goal. What is your action plan? So we've identified what it is that we want to achieve. Now we need to actually write down what are we going to have to do to achieve it? Is this taking out ads? Do we have the needed resources or capabilities to actually reach these goals? If we don't have the resources, then what are we going to have to do to get them? But no matter what, if you are a business owner now, start with what you have. We don't want you to not move forward. So if you don't have what you need, what can be done to achieve what is needed? Now, why is this important? Developing an action plan is just as important as setting the goals, because it's going to let you know what steps you need to take, and it's actually going to help you to prioritize these steps, because as you're talking about what it is that you need to do, there may be, all things just might not be equal, and there might be this step one that you need to do before you get to this other thing. So, and remember that um this goal is to actually help you to hit your end goal. So that's why it's important for you to not have it just free flowing. And what I always like to say to my clients over and over and over again is that it's hard to hit a moving target. So if the target is doing this thing right here, it's hard to hit it, just as it is if you're just kind of willy nilly waking up day after day and not really having a plan. But you have this goal out here and say, oh, well, today I'm going to try this. Well, okay, tomorrow I'm going to try that. When really you might need to start with one activity and keep doing that activity for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when we talk about actionable, they need to be challenging, but
Mhm,
possible. And don't try and do it all overnight, because you're going to overwhelm yourself. So this goal needs to be something within your control that you can
mhm,
actually achieve. So yeah, all of these flow from each other in so many
mhm.
ways, and it's a great helpful tool, I think, to get you started on the road to achieving whatever big goal or you have, because this
And
will help me
And you
you.
know what, Rosalind, when I am looking at my action steps, I really like to not have more than three action steps that I'm
Yeah,
focusing on at a time. Because, when it gets to be more than three, it does become
yeah,
overwhelming. So,
exactly.
one thing as an entrepreneur is that we can end up with, especially when we're initially starting our business and we are doing absolutely everything ourselves. Maybe, you're coming into this business and you are funding it, as we have talked about in the past, and everything is dependent upon you. Well, that can cause a lot of overwhelm. So when I'm looking at my action steps, I try to break them down into sets of three. And then that way you can break them down. I guess I would say into like little mini goals. You know,
Yes,
I have
exactly.
this goal. I'm going to take these, three steps. Once I'm done with this, then I'm going to move to this thing over here. And it requires these three steps.
Exactly.
That is going to increase your productivity and decrease your overwhelm and frustration.
Yeah, and that's what makes them actionable, because they are
Mhm.
actually action steps that
Right.
you can take.
Mhm.
So moving on, the next next letter in the acrostic is R, which can stand for relevant. I like to think it stands for relevant and realistic. So, um, it's this is about you finding out which goals are most important and most realistically able to be accomplished. Um, and, a lot of times, especially as an entrepreneur or, a stay-at-home mom even, you have so many we're multitasking all the time, and you have so many goals, so many things you want to achieve in a day, um, and it can be difficult to know exactly where to start, and how to narrow things down. Listing your goals and prioritizing them based on what you want to accomplish first can be a great way to gain focus. And it really does help. It helps with your stress levels. It helps control some levels of frustration you have going on. Um, so it's about the goals being relevant to your final goal, but also realistic enough to be able to have them achievable. It helps you know why. It helps if you know why they're important to yourself, like you feel like a connection to them, which makes them relevant to you as well. And part of this, I think, I also like to think is this is a great opportunity when you're looking at the relevancy and and whether it's realistic or not, is also looking for potential hurdles along the way. Um,
Mhm.
you can't just ignore the fact that you're going to run into trouble. You're going to run into situations where you don't know what you're doing, or that that you try something and it doesn't work. So part of being realistic is planning for those, right?
Mhm.
So I would put that in this part of your goal setting process as well, is to take a look at that part of it, not just what you want to get done, but what potentially could go wrong.
Right, right. And you know what? Going back to where we were talking about actionable, that statement that you just made me think about when you have your action steps planned out and then you end up breaking it down. If you actually write your action steps out,
Oh, for
it
sure.
will help you to identify ahead of time if there are going to be additional resources that you're going to need at some point on this journey to your goal, and you could actually be planting the seeds for having those resources available when you get to that point that
Yeah.
you need them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just going to really emphasize what Teresa said here. I always go back to how important it is to actually write this stuff down. It it's doesn't do you any good if it stays in your head. I think we've talked about this in other podcasts, that if it stays in your head, it's not real.
Mhm.
It's just an idea.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, getting it down onto paper makes these goals real, and that's important.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then the last part is time bound. So, you want to make sure that your goals are time bound. And this is actually important because it puts a time frame on when you are actually going to complete an activity, or you should actually reach your goal. So, you never want your goals to be just open ended or to be ambiguous. If you say, I want to um I want to make more money. Okay. So is that like over the next year, the next 5 years? If you just say you want to make more money in your business, then it can, it can mentally, emotionally, it can turn into, okay, I'm gonna get around to it when it comes to taking those action steps, right? I'm
Yeah,
eventually going to make money. I'm eventually going to do the activity to make the money, but it just kind of doesn't materialize. And sometimes, if you have it like that, the goal or the business idea or the business just fades away, right?
yeah, Yeah.
because there's no activity that is or effort that is being put into it. So you want to have that. And I, again, need this because I can be the queen of procrastination. And like I said, I'm blaming my mother on that. And really, and you know what? And my mother is a high achiever as well. But I was thinking about where did I get this habit of procrastination? I'm gonna have to tell her that I'm blaming her because I mean, she was one of those people that just she works well under pressure. And I
Yeah.
think growing up watching her that I do that same thing. I mean, if it's down to the wire, I can get it done. But I have all the time in the world. I can come up with 50 reasons why I cannot do this. But if we get down to the last couple of hours, I'll be running around like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to break that, but that is true procrastination. So you can tell yourself, "Hey, I work great under pressure," but actually, you are also a procrastinator. So join the club. I can say that because that's exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I love to tell this story. When I was in university, I was studying sociology and English, and so a lot of essay writing required in those subjects, and and I would procrastinate by researching. So I would research and research. I'd spend days in the library, and I had mounds of those little cue cards with all
Me
those
too.
fascinating points. And then it wouldn't be till the night before the essay was due that I'd be putting it into an essay form. Like
Yes,
it,
and have to
it
stay up all night
all night.
and
That's right.
get delirious and crazy the next day.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, that's where my coffee habit was developed.
Yes,
Yeah, so,
yes, me too.
so, so I think it can be kind of overwhelming to try and set a deadline because it's sometimes hard to know how long it's going to take to achieve something. Um, One way to handle that um, is to look at what you've done in the past that is, kind of similar.
Look or
Uh,
not.
or not. Yeah, yeah. And how long has it taken you to accomplish those things?
Mhm.
So, actually, you know what? Double that or even triple it. Give yourself lots of time because if you make your timeline too short, you actually end up stressing out, and in all likelihood, you're going to go off the deep end and not achieve it anyway. Um, that's the way I would do it. You can also, set that firm date, and then by setting that firm date, you can work backwards, and you can see exactly what you need to do when you need to do it in order to achieve that date. So that's
Mhm.
setting a date is super important to achieve a lot of things. Whether it's in business or life. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Plus, you know what? Setting a time frame allows you to actually track your progress.
Yeah.
And it also gives you the opportunity, especially in business, well, in life as well, but it allows you that opportunity to readdress or reevaluate your action steps.
Yeah.
So, if say for instance you have this 90-day plan, then I would suggest at 30 days reevaluating to
Always.
see how am I going? How am I progressing? Do I need to make changes or in my steps that I'm taking or am I really right on track?
Yeah.
Sometimes you might exceed it and that's great, but if you're way way off, like in the candles, if you say you're going to sell 1,000 candles a month and you get down to, and so that's 3,000 candles in 90 days and you get to that 30-day mark and you only sold 200 candles, then okay, what do you need to do in your action steps? Does that mean that you need to double your efforts in your marketing? Is it ads? Is it contacts? what is it that you need to do? So it kind of helps you to get going,
Yeah.
and it's a way of holding you accountable. So the time frame is very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So why don't we kind of give an overall example in
Hmm.
business? Teresa has come up with a great one that you can share with our audience, so that you get it'll allow you to have a concrete example of what it means to set SMART goals.
Okay. And I wrote this down so that I would not
Yeah,
miss a piece of it. So a business smart example would be, so A, saying, I want to grow my business. Now, that's a good goal, but that's very ambiguous. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that same goal and we're going to apply the SMART principle. So specifically, I want to grow my email list. So now we're actually looking at how do you want to grow your business. So I want to grow my email list. Measurable, I want to grow my email list by 10,000 subscribers. Okay, achievable, so is that actually achievable? Well, only take a look. Do you have any subscribers now? Or, are you at zero? Where are we starting from? So you have a concrete number. Don't make it too high or make it too big, because this will just make you frustrated. And oftentimes this is where people quit. It's just too big. So if you are feeling that nudge or that tendency to quit, don't quit. Actually take a look at your goal and see if it's too big and you just need to adjust
yeah,
it. And then relevant. Is this something that your customers want? Or will this create the life or business that you desire? And this just kind of taps into what Rosalind said earlier, about why is it that you even want to do this in the first place? So if not, go back and start again. And then time bound. I want to increase my email list to 10,000 subscribers within the next 90 days. That is very specific. I want to increase my email list to 10,000 subscribers within the next 90 days. This helps to make your steps very actionable. So, your SMART goal, if we put it all together, is I want to grow my email list to 10,000 subscribers within the next 90 days.
that's a great example there, Teresa.
Mhm.
And I would also add, beyond that, don't forget to write that down.
Don't forget to write it down. And now, once you actually have that goal, is perfect. It's just the way it needs to be. It has all of the smart qualities. Then you want to write it down and you want to put it everywhere. You want to write it on everything, whether it be sticky notes. I love to use those neon index cards. I've mentioned that before. Whether it's creating a vision board, but you want to stick it everywhere, on your dashboard, in your car, on the bathroom mirror, so that you are constantly seeing what your goals and what your steps are, so that you can stay focused and more than likely hit your goal. So this
Very.
has really been great. You have anything else to add to this, Ross?
No, I think this is good. I think we can. I can go ahead. Can I go ahead and give them our key takeaway there,
Yes, ma'am.
Teresa?
Hmm.
So we try and give you guys, key takeaways, things that you can take to the bank, so to speak, at the end of every podcast to help you triumph in your business or your life. And so today, I would say take action, be willing to reevaluate your goals, make revisions as necessary for optimal goal success in your business. Be smart.
Hmm. Yes, I'm smart.
Yeah, you
I'd
are
like to think
smart.
I am.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So thank you guys. This has been another episode of the Relentless Transitions podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we have added some value to your life and business today. Please go to our YouTube page, Relentless Transitions, and like and subscribe and leave us a comment. And we would love it if you would send us an email at relentlesstransitions@gmail.com if you have some comments on how you have been able to successfully set some SMART goals. Thank you.
Hey,
See you next time.
thanks for listening, everyone.